Hey guys, and welcome back to Smart Money Minds. Today I'm going to be making a quick video on two oversold bounces attempts that I made today, and one was a loser and the other one was a winner. But I want to go over the differences between these two oversold bounces and let you know what I'm looking at here. And these two attempts came from VIPS, and the other attempt is from Norwegian Cruise Line, NCLH, and these were the two bounces that I played, and you can see how they reacted very differently on these oversold conditions. The first play I took here was a loser, and it was on VIPS, and I saw here that it was down 9 candlesticks on the 15 minutes, okay, and I took my entry here on this doji with this sort of volume climax sort of vibe here, and this is where I saw that there was an opportunity for it to take a lower high back up to this range before possibly collapsing. And the reason I took an entry here was, if you look at the 5-minute chart, it was collapsing the whole way down. But what I did see was that this was more of an algo sell if I zoomed in a little bit closer. If I looked at the 2 minutes, look at these little green candles that came in and kind of held it up, and it kept pushing down on the 2-minute 8 EMA all the way down. And what I didn't notice, or I just wasn't paying attention, was that the volume was very consistent. It wasn't a spike in bear volume that dropped the prices down. It was consistently selling. Bulls bought a little bit, continues to sell. The only time I started seeing very clear divergence was at this range here around 850, 855. You see the 2-minute had bullish divergence. The 5 minutes was having bullish divergence as well. As you see, it was creeping up here, is moving back up. So I saw that there was an opportunity here for it to move back up over for at least a 15-minute oversold bounce. But as you see here, it just traded sideways with very low bull volume and collapsed further throughout the day. And looking back here, doing a review, I saw all these signals that gave me red flags that it was algo selling. There was a small bounce, but it just kept collapsing down. And the 15-minute bear flag formed with very low bull volume, and it continued to go downtrend for the rest of the day. And this is why you have to see, for oversold bounces, it needs to have a sharp volume spike downwards, and it will lead to a violent bounce afterwards. And another thing that I didn't notice myself was that it had no volume climax. There was no pressure going back up to the upside. Now, looking at Norwegian Cruise Lines, we saw that there was a news event here. So cruise line sale orders extended to September 2020. So that was handed down today at 11 o'clock. And because of this, we had a news event that spiked the prices down. And as you see here, we had a new sell-off at 11. We had a 11% or 13% drop in 45 minutes. So if you take a look, this is exactly what happened. Looking at the 2-minute chart, we had a 2-minute bear flag form here, and it continued to spike down. But look at the difference between VIPS and Norwegian Cruise Lines is look at the volume. And look at this price range here where volume started to spike. At the 5 minutes, we were looking, now that we remove these, look at this volume climax. And that's exactly where the bounce occurred. There was 9 2-minute bear candlesticks leading to a volume climax. And the 2-minute hammer candlestick at 11:46 led to a 7% bounce. So that's exactly what happened here. Right here, this hammer candle, volume climax, and that's where it led to this bounce right here. Looking back at both of these quote-unquote oversold bounces, VIPS was actually not an oversold bounce. It was just a slow grind down, and you see the 2-minute lower high to lower low, and it was algo selling. And VIPs had no divergence on the 5 or 15 minutes until much later in the day, and it just had a very low volume drop compared to Norwegian Cruise Line's high volume dump in a much shorter period of time. And that is why a violent dump would lead to a violent bounce. I myself took a pretty big loss on the VIPs play because I added a initial small position and then I added a little bit more on that bear flag before it collapsed further down, and I had to stop myself out. So looking at an oversold bounce strategy, what it is key to do is to enter small and start to enter only when it starts to confirm. Looking back at Norwegian Cruise, I saw this $24, it was pushing down quite nicely, and it started to bounce here. And I saw this 2-minute hammer candle with these two volume candlesticks. And I was looking at an entry even at around 24.70, because if you even had an entry there, you would have still captured a good chunk of the move. You would have captured at least from here another 4% from this move, and this was after seeing it start to confirm. While it's in VIPs, you saw that there was no bear or no bull volume. It was just steady bear volume, no volume climax, pushing it down, steady. There was a bit of a more volume push here, and that's where it did lead to a slight bounce. But look at the bear volume pushing it right back down here. And so you see that the bears are still very strong at this stage. And this is where it starts to form a bear flag and collapses further down. So when you see that it starts to confirm, we can use the low of the day to stop out and to limit the losses, because this is a counter trend play. And if you looked at VIPs, it could continue just to keep grinding downwards and you could be in a huge loss. And what's key is that you should really wait until there is a volume climax before attempting any sort of entry, and it could easily break short-term or long-term supports on the fib levels. Looking at the daily chart for VIPs, look at this steady uptrend climb. And it was only today where there was huge bear volume. It came down. I would have looked at the golden pocket here for a support bounce, but it kept going down to the 0.786. So it could very well break supports like they were nothing. So these are two types of oversold bounces that the first one I made a mistake on. The second one was a correct play. But we need to be much more patient when the market is not clear, and to really play oversold bounces when the signals are there, all the indicators are there, and the volume is there for the play to happen. Let me know what you think about this oversold bounce strategy. I myself made a mistake today, and I took a pretty big loss on that VIPs play, and I was not proud of it. So I wanted to share my experience with you guys here and to let you know what to really look for. And this helps me with my own practice and learning as well. Please make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you guys next time for more stock trading strategy videos.